operating privileges, and we don't pay anything for them. If you want to start a radio station or a TV station, you're going to pay big bucks for the frequency that you're going to be transmitting on. We don't pay anything. We pay by public service. And the American Radio Relay League is the one that is helping us protect our frequencies. And then, of course, learn by doing. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We all do. You look at everyone in the audience. We have a brand new hand back there. Every one of us has been a brand new hand at one time. Every one of us has had to make a first contact. So we're all been through it. And I have never found, well, very rarely, put it that way, have I ever found a hand who would not have. All right, getting on the air. You program your radio to the repeater and the frequencies, and the repeaters are going to cover a larger area. Why? Because they're up higher, they have more power, they got bigger antennas. Here's one of the things that I found out. When you get your radio, listen, listen, listen. Get on the GARS net. We have one on Monday nights. The Lilburn Emergency Amateur Radio Net has one Sunday nights at 7 o'clock. Everyone is welcome to participate. We listen to how they're done, and when you feel comfortable, break in there and join the conversation. Monitor the local nets and other comms so that you know exactly what's going on. So you put your radio, for example, on the GARS main frequency and listen. Find out who's on the air. You hear somebody that you know or you think you want to talk to, go and talk with them. Oh, that first QSO. Oh boy, is that fun. The thing you do is, you do, like I put my own call sign in here. You just get on to your radio and say, in my case, I would say KJ4CMY monitoring. You use your own call, that way you don't get me into trouble. Or you can just say KJ4CMY listening, or just throw out your call sign. Say KJ4CMY. Don't be afraid to tell someone this is your first time or that you're new. We have all been new. We use plain English, especially on VHF and UHF frequencies. So you're not going to get very much stuff on there that you're not going to understand. You have to ID every 10 minutes and at the end of a conversation or a QSO. Now, okay, so let's say you have a friend that's on the air named Jack, and you don't even have to identify your station or your call sign when you get on the air. You can say, "Hi, Jack, are you there?" And then Jack comes back to you and talks. As long as you ID every 10 minutes at the end of your conversation, you're within the law. Most ham radio operators will throw out their call sign at the beginning of a conversation. It's not necessary, but it's kind of the way they do it. But if you're talking to a friend, and you know that particular friend is on the air, yeah, why not? Okay, GARS activities. Now, first GARS. GARS, in some ways, it's intimidating because it's a big club. But on the other hand, it's good because there's a big club, because there's always somebody there that you can meet and get to know. Some of the activities, and I didn't put them all down. When I went through this afternoon, I put a bunch of it more in there, and I got on the way here and I thought, uh-oh, I forgot this and I forgot that. Let me just go through some of them. Tech Fest we have, and that's a chance where it's GARS Ham Fest. It's called a Ham Fest, but it's not like a regular Ham Fest, it's more of an educational experience. Very good, very informative. Field Day, a wonderful opportunity to get on the air. Whether you just got your license or you've been licensed for 50 years, there's always a place for you to get on there. Satellites in the Park is a fun one, where actually we'll get out with our equipment and we'll talk to people via satellites. The dog show, okay, and I can't push this enough. I know John will back me up on this. The dog show is a fun thing to do. If you've never been on the air, never been on a net, this is a great opportunity to come. It is not hard work. You sit down most of the day, and you probably won't have to get on the radio every 15 or 20 minutes. It is a lot of fun. You get to work. You get to be on the net. And again, it's very low power. You make a mistake. Who cares? And get active in the club. Make it a point. I'm joining guard. I'm going to be here every month. I'm going to get on the nets. I'm going to be in their activities. Now, one of the things that I have tried to do lately, and I've not failed in several months, is to introduce myself to someone I don't know. That's probably the hardest thing about guards is there's so many people in here. I do not know everybody's name. So if you're new, you're probably in the same situation. Well, okay, for those of you who are new, introduce yourself. Hey, I'm David, KJ4CMY, just got my license. Pleased to meet you. If you've been here since the club was organized and you see someone you don't know, hey, I'm David, KJ4CMY. Pleased to meet you. Get to know people you don't know. That's the best way I know of really getting yourself into the club. Okay, the guards workshop. Now this is meant for new hands, and I put this up. I clipped this out of the website, and unfortunately it wasn't quite up to date when I did it. But the next show is coming up is next week, right here, same time, same station, and we're going to talk about Morse code keys. Now the nice thing about this workshop is it is geared towards new hands. It is an activity, not like you get up here and listen to me blabber for half an hour. But you will get an opportunity to talk. If you have questions, they will usually do a short presentation, and then any questions you have, you raise your hand and say, I got a question. What does this radio do? They'll be glad to help you. It's just a great thing, and I try to support it as much as I can. Any questions? Okay.
Comments?
How are we on time?
Good.
Okay.
David, I had a comment.
Yes.
On the repeater frequencies on Android, don't know Apple, but on Android there's one called Repeater Book.
Yes, right.
Completely free. It uses your GPS to figure out where you are. It tells you all the repeaters around you on any of the different bands. So you can find a 10-meter repeater, a 6, 1 1/4, whatever you're looking for. And it'll tell you D-Star, Fusion, etc. So it's a nice little resource you didn't mention.
That is another resource. Yes, I did mention I need to put that in there.
Yeah.
Let me get some comments from him since we have the time. This one here is from N3PAQ. He says, so what makes a good first radio? It depends greatly on two things. What will you use the radio for and your budget? Some other comments? Yeah, Dave?
Well, I just wanted to say, since you had mentioned the dog show coming up, the next Poly event where you can use your radios will be Jamboree on the Air. Jamboree on the Air is, Steve had mentioned earlier, is a great scouting event where we have scouts come in, a lot of them go for the Radio Merit Badge class, and then we help get them on the air and make a contact. So it can help you or coach you through what it takes to make that first contact by watching someone else and helping them.
I did that one a couple of years ago. I really felt bad I could not make it this year because my wife was home recovering from surgery, and I missed a number of events, but I had so much fun the year I did come out. I was able to get on the air and talk to several other places who were doing Joe. In fact, one of them was in New York City, the friendliest group of people I've ever met. And they had a scout group there. We got the scouts that came out, and they talked to the scouts that were there, that were just being introduced to amateur radio. It was a lot of fun. There was a whole bunch of activities, and I missed about half of them. But just keep your eyes on the Guard's website, listen to what's going on in the meetings, and we'll make sure that you know about all these activities. Okay, a couple other comments. Sometimes a mobile rig is the best choice for a first rig because of the location and the altitude of the local repeaters. In my case, I probably would have done better with a mobile than an HT because I'm behind the hill and the Guard's repeaters are sometimes some I can't get them all without an external antenna. Okay, new gear always has more features than the previous generation of radios. Sometimes these features are genuinely advanced and make amateur radio much better. The best way to learn about how to operate your new rig is to read the manual. Oh yeah, very good one. Now some of the manuals leave a lot to be desired, but that's the best way to do that. And that's one of the things I always tell new hams. Read the manual, reread it, and read it again.
Not
And
the
I-
Baofeng.
Not the Baofeng. However, with the Baofeng, there are excellent manuals that have been privately produced. In fact, there's one called the Chinese Documentation Project, and there's like a 70-page out of that thing. Yeah, really, very good information on that. Okay, don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Join your local amateur radio club. That's hopefully why we're here. This is the best and fastest way to get your questions answered by people who live in the same area and have done the same things for the first time, just like you are doing now. Okay, there are a lot of things you can explore. Healthiest thing would be to start thinking of your HT as an accessory to your shack rather than the main element. Start saving up for the big rig. One of the all-mode, all-band radios would probably be a good place to start. Did you know that with your tech license, you can get on HF? There is a 200 kilohertz segment of the 10-meter band that is set aside and allows technicians to get on. My wife loves it because she's a tech. ARRL has a fine set of books on many topics. They have one beginner sheet that you might find interesting, entitled Getting Started with Ham Radio. Covers a variety of topics that should be interesting to you.
Hey, David,
Yes?
what's a quarter?
A what?
On that last screen, what's a quarter?
Oh, that's K0, K RGR.
I thought maybe some of you folks didn't understand, because it doesn't look like a zero to me.
Okay, well, yeah, they usually slash them, but that is a 0. Okay, any ham radio worth its salt needs the ARRL and radio handbook. You can make HamFest load up on ham mags from the 60s. Sometimes people bring in used magazines. That's a great way to start. And they mentioned some of the older ones too. The way I do it is to go to bed an hour before the wife and read and stock up on the info. If you have an interest in home brewing, it's only natural. You'll be picking on everything ham radio. Okay.
Hey, David. So a lot of people have brought their old ARRL handbooks here as giveaways. So if you have a new one and an old one and you don't want the old one anymore, bring it in for a new ham.
Yeah. Most times you'll find the information in an older manual relevant. Reading is good. The internet has a lot of stuff about ham radio you can read. Now, I like to look at that, and I'm a YouTuber. And you know what? There are tons of interesting things on amateur radio on YouTube. Do you have a comment?
No, I was just gonna say, I've been on YouTube a lot. I like Shane Gassler, Rip Laughlin up north, KJ4CMY, down in Florida. There's a whole bunch of them like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you just go to YouTube and type in amateur radio, yeah, you'll find thousands of videos on there. And I don't think I've ever come across some boring ones, but most of them are pretty good. And you'll soon find the ones that will help you. There is Dave Castro is the one that you mentioned down there. He does have a whole series on beginning amateur radio. Don't plan to be an expert next week or next year or even the next decade. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Is there any questions? Let me know if you want to talk to me after the meeting. I'll be glad to.
Thanks very much, David. Even if you've been at ham for a lot of years, like one or two of us have around here, I think you still learned something tonight. We want to give David a little token of our appreciation.
Thank you, David. This is a certificate of our appreciation.
All right, has everybody got a ticket? Did we get anybody that did not?